Welcome to the After Party Hangover Wednesday review show. I got my co-pilot with me, Sinikk _chaos, and he's going to help me break down NXT and AEW. I sent out an open invitation to the Steel Real Army, so we might get some surprise guests. We might not get anybody, but we are going to be talking a lot of wrestling. So let's kick it off with NXT. Keith Lee comes out and cuts a promo. I love everything about Keith Lee. I don't mean to be too critical about this, but when he opens his mouth, he doesn't strike fear into me. Like, he has this really high voice, and he sounds like a cool dude you want to hang out with, but he doesn't sound like a dude who's going to beat the shit out of you. You know what I mean?
Oh, sorry, my turn. You know what? My dad always used to make fun of Bobby Lashley like that, which, to go back to the Still Real After Party podcast, when one of them said that Bobby Lashley looked like a skull with two eyeballs poked into it, I was dying. But you remember on Bobby Lashley's Titantron, where it used to say soft-spoken? Like, that didn't help his case at all.
Yeah, that was not a compliment to his intimidation factor.
I don't like Bobby Lashley, but we're talking about Keith Lee. ADHD moment, sorry. Keith Lee radiates charisma.
Yes.
Now, when you say intimidation, I feel like he does that in the ring. But when he speaks charismatically. I don't think he needs to... I think he could shoot you a look, and you're like, oh shit, my life is on the line. I don't think he needs to be like, you know, I'm gonna murder your whole family, you know?
Exactly. You know, I don't want to be too critical of him because he's probably my favorite next to Tommaso Ciampa right now. But maybe the less he speaks, the better. Like, let's just stick to the action in the ring. And maybe when he gets more... like maybe a more personal feud. That's when he'll kick up the notches on his promo skills, in my opinion. But after he cuts this promo, of course, the Undisputed Era just comes out and tells him to shut the fuck up. They jump his ass. All four of them jump him. He fends them off, but eventually the numbers game catches up. Roddy Strong gets Keith Lee's leg, puts it in a chair, and stomps it. And that's when Tommaso Ciampa said, that's enough, comes out for the save. I thought right here Tommaso should have cut the promo he did later in the night, but they eventually just went to commercial. Keith Lee hobbling on his knee. Probably not the greatest way to kick off NXT, but I understand it for the story they told the rest of the night. My point being, the counter-programming on AEW kicked off with a fantastic Fatal 4-Way tag team matchup. But, I mean, I'm always going to love NXT, and I don't want to be too critical of it.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, jumping ahead a little bit here, but when Keith Lee was trying to barrage his way to Roddy Strong, when he was saying what he was saying, that was the intensity I feel like you were looking for, but he didn't do it with a microphone in his hand.
Yes. Tegan Knox.
He scared me then.
Tegan Knox was interviewed outside the building. She's talking about being in the Battle Royal, and then I believe it was some chick came up and hugged her. I forgot who it was, but she was excited that Tegan Knox returned. After this, we get another Dusty Rhodes Cup Round 1 matchup. This was my favorite match of the entire week. It was the Broserweights versus Mark Andrews and Flash Webster Morgan, right? Yeah. They're from NXT UK. This, I really enjoyed this matchup. I like how Pete and Riddle already had matching gear, and they had a cool stance when they're in the ring. They worked really great together. Both of them neither of them have no elbow pads or knee pads, and of course Riddle has no fucking shoes either. Did you like this match, and what were some of the highlights to you?
They do make a really good team. I do think they need to start pushing established tag teams, but wishing one hand, shit in the other with the WWE. They keep throwing these makeshift tag teams together. But these guys work very well off each other. And Morgan Webster, the only thing I could think about with him is, like, I just picture him at Hogwarts with the sorting hat on his head and them going, Hufflepuff!
Yeah, I mean, he did when he was first introduced to me at the NXT UK tournament. Like, he did look like an Austin Powers ripoff, and eventually he did start working out, and he's in much better shape. But yeah, he still has that "I'm a fucking nerd, please don't punch me" face.
Yeah, and then you have, like, what's his name? The pop punk guy waving his hand side to side.
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews. They're a great team. I feel like, you know, they've been together for a little bit now. I'm not saying they need to wear matching outfits or anything, but I feel like they need to look a little more the part of the tag team. But man, phenomenal tag team match.
I wrote down some of my favorite points in this match. Well, first of all, Andrews and Webster were abused most of the match. Like, they got their ass kicked the first 3/4 of this matchup. But eventually, Andrews, you know, he did this was my favorite move. Maybe my second favorite. I don't know. But Mark Andrews, he did the Bruce Springsteen slide underneath the Broserweights. And then he did a double Pele kick, hitting both of them in the head. That was pretty badass. I've never seen anything like that before. Pete Dunne, he hits the X-Plex, and Riddle catches the dude and power bombs him. That is an excellent tag team finisher.
That wasn't the tag team finisher for me.
Oh yeah, they did a different one later on. But if they use that as their finisher, I would be a big fan. I know they do the bitter...
Dude, the bitter end into the GTS was godly.
That, my God, I'm surprised he doesn't have a concussion after that finisher. These guys work very well together. The Broserweights, I hope, win this. And if you notice in the past Dusty Cups, it's always random tag teams they put together. Like, it was Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. They won the first one. And then we had Ricochet and Aleister Black last year. And this year... I hope the Broserweights take it.
I'm glad Gallus won their tag match because they're a real tag team.
Yeah, they're badass. Those guys are heavy hitters, and during this match, we get a ton of false finishes. Mark Andrews, he reversed an X-Plex into a stunner, and that is my favorite thing that Mark Andrews does in his repertoire. He turns suplexes, or he counters... a lot of moves into the stunner, which is very impressive. He's one of my favorite UK guys. The only thing I don't like about him is his music. He sounds like he's from a British NSYNC, and I feel embarrassed for liking him, and my wife looks at me like, "You like this guy?" But I give this match 7 slices. I loved it.
I'm gonna go 6 in the crust.
Nice. Still very high. After this, we get a recap of TakeOver Blackpool, and then it shows us a backstage segment we didn't get to see of Walter shouting in Nazi at the camera. I don't know what the hell he was saying, but that man was not happy. Then we get Tommaso Ciampa. It's his turn to cut a promo in the ring, and what do you know? Here comes Undisputed Era to kick the shit out of him this time. We don't get Keith Lee's help this time because he's still in the trainer room nursing his ankle injury. But we get something even better. Johnny Gargano with the save. Who would have thought that we see Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano on the same page in 2020 again? A very good treat.
With the DIY chants.
The DIY chants were very loud, and I was getting goosebumps seeing these two in the ring staring each other down like... Holy shit, we're going to get an excellent match out of this.
Okay, but can I talk about what pisses me off about this?
Yes.
Timing. If this happened 2 weeks ago, we could have saw DIY in the Dusty Rhodes Classic, cheering them on and stomping our feet, hoping they win the damn thing.
That would have been fucking amazing, dude. Could you imagine DIY winning it?
Last year?
I don't believe they were in it last year. Weren't they feuding?
I I think they feuded a little bit later.
Oh.
I could have sworn they were.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to have to go back and check those brackets out. I just remember Alistair and Ricochet winning that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about it, though. If you saw all these established tag teams, and then like an established tag team winning it, that's a fan favorite or incredibly hated, you would have remembered pretty much the whole thing. I remembered the whole Cruiserweight Classic.
That's my favorite tournament. That's my favorite tournament WWE has ever put on, and I believe it seems like it's the least talked about.
Yeah, look where Kota Ibushi's at now.
Oh yeah, he's making tons of money in New Japan. They just put on a hell of a match at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, and Akira Tozawa, he's moving up there now. Like, you're seeing him on Raw. You're seeing him all over the place, putting on great matches where you would think it would have been a squash match, but he's really putting on a show.
I like how they made it seem like Brian Kendrick, that was going to be his final appearance ever in the CWC. He was being all emotional with Daniel Bryan, but he stuck around. He's still there, right?
He's probably still under contract, but, you know, WWE, we don't really have anything for you right now, so go fuck a flagpole.
Go find a 24/7 title and fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, after this, we get another Dusty Cup Round 1 matchup between Kushida and Alex Shelley, who I know nothing about, versus
I do.
the grizzled young veterans. What are your thoughts on this match?
I missed NXT the week before. Heavy drinking.
Nah.
It happens. Bender, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we'll go. Alex Shelley, I know a lot about him. Dude, look into the Motor City Machine Guns. Look at matches of the Motor City Machine Guns versus the Hardys. Those matches will blow your mind. Look at the Motor City Machine Guns versus Generation Me. Those were the Young Bucks before they were the Young Bucks when they were in TNA.
Are the Motor the Motor the Machine Guns, are they better than the Time Splitters? Do you prefer him with Kushida, or do you prefer him when they were in
he was with Chris Sabin.
Yes. Super bad.
I prefer the Motor City Machine Guns. That's a team that should go in the TNA Hall of Fame.
Can you believe that they actually lost this? This was his debut match, and they lost this match to get ahead of things, but I was surprised.
I'm glad.
Oh, you like the Grizzled Young Veterans? I have notes on. I love one of them. But my notes on this match is Kushida and Shelley are fucking lightning quick. Their chemistry is flawless. I enjoyed that. You can tell they're a well-oiled machine tag team. My notes on the Grizzled Young Veterans. I'm taking notice in James Drake. That dude looks like a badass Kurt Hawkins. And if you notice the little subtleties that he does during the matches, like even in Blackpool when they did that ladder match, like he was fantastic. In this match, he was incredible. What are your thoughts on the Grizzled Young Veterans?
These guys have a hell of a future. I think that they're going to expand well beyond NXT UK. I think we could see these guys in the finals. And hell yeah, factions, man. What was one thing that made the Attitude Era so badass was like you had the Nation of Domination and you had DX and you had there was the biker gang, the DOA. It was
Disciples of Apocalypse, the Right to Censor. They had DX. Yeah. They had all kinds of stables. Even in WCW, they had their stables as well. The LWO, the BWO, all that shit.
Mm-hmm. So one thing I can say is they're a group. So I mean, I guess maybe 3 is less than a faction, but more than a tag team sometimes. But they strike me as a strong faction. And then you had the leader of Gallus going up against Walter. So they're doing big things, and it's only going to get bigger for them. And I like their tag team finisher, sort of similar to the Shatter Machine.
Yeah.
But it's their own little spin-off. And I'm a sucker for a good tag team finishing move.
The Grizzled Young Veterans win with a ticket to mayhem. Surprising outcome to myself because like I said, I thought they would put over Alex Shelley and Kushida because it was his debut. But then after this matchup, just to show you how good heels cut promos, the Grizzled Young Vets called the NXT crowd a bunch of hipsters who pretend to know who everyone is when they really don't. That was fucking excellent, dude.
Yes, it was. I love it when kind of like when he came back. Sami Zayn came back with his return when he shit all over the crowd.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to call the crowd out on being like a bunch of fake pieces of shit. One thing I could say is, this is what I like what Bully Ray says. If I had the pencil, I would book Alex Shelley in a singles match against, I don't know, who's the fake ass Tyler Breeze mixed with Damian Priest looking guy with the blonde hair from Hawaii that always loses.
Kona Reeves?
Yeah, have him go over on Kona Reeves so he gets a win in his first match. Have them win a couple tag team matches and then go in against the young Grizzled veterans and maybe get a win.
Well, another reason why I thought this was a surprising outcome, because if you check out the brackets, it's going to be the Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Undisputed Era. Two heel teams are in the semifinals. Or do you believe the Undisputed Era will play the faces in that?
I wouldn't say the faces. I would say the favorables. I would say they would be the ones cheered by the crowd, but they wouldn't care that they're being cheered. They wouldn't act any different. They would just be them.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm really curious how the crowd's going to react to that matchup in this coming week. After this...
I would say the crowd would make them the baby faces, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. They'll be cheering Undisputed. Watch.
Mm-hmm.
After this, we get Robert Stone and Chelsea Green outside promo. Robert Stone pulls Chelsea Green from the Battle Royal saying, nah, we ain't doing this shit. And if you talk to Andy, he is not a fan of Robert Stone. I didn't know who the fuck it was, but he said he was some piece of shit from some other organization, Robbie E or something.
Okay, so he was Zack Ryder when he first started out with the annoying Jersey Shore Guido gimmick, but he did it more annoying in TNA.
Oh, he's from TNA, okay.
Didn't like him either. I will give him this. When somebody deserves something, I'll definitely give it to him. As far as praise goes, he is playing such a different character, and the fact that he's that versatile speaks volumes for him.
Well, yeah, like you said, he was playing this turned-up Guido, and now he looks like he's fucking Zach Morris, like straight out of Saved by the Bell, but he's a manager, and he looks all cleaned up and professional.
He looks like an angry banker after a hard day.
Well, after this, we get Leo Rush versus Tyler Breeze versus Swerve. It was
my favorite match. My favorite match of the week.
#1 contender match at Worlds Collide for the Cruiserweight Championship. Talk about fast and flying action. My God, this was incredible. But they went to commercial.
When I told you that Lucha Underground was like a big thing for me, that I loved it?
Yes.
So Isaiah Swerve Scott is a stupid fucking name. He worked the Indies for a long time under Shane Strickland. Loved it. But my favorite gimmick that he ever did was Kill Shot, where he wore a mask. And I was a huge fan of him. If you could go back and watch, I think it was something. It was like their version of WrestleMania, but it was like a 3 out of 5 falls death match between Killshot and Dante Fox.
God damn!
One of the best matches I ever seen. He goes through glass and has to wrestle a tag team match later that night.
Killshot is a way better name than Swerve.
Oh yeah. Well, Swerve, I mean, he kind of used that throughout parts of his career. But he was my pick.
Yeah.
And I would have been okay with Lio Rush, maybe rolled my eyes a little bit with Tyler Breeze, but a huge dream match for me would be Angel Garza versus Swerve, and I got it.
Oh my god, dude, you're gonna get it. That match is gonna be fucking fire. Do you think they should open NXT with it, or do you think they should main event it, or do you think they should save it for a takeover?
I think they should absolutely save it for TakeOver and open TakeOver with it.
That would set the mood, and my god, try to follow that match.
They're going to top Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, they whet our appetites for this matchup, but they went to commercial. When they came back, we get a pretty cool looking Finn Balor video promo about setting up his match against Dragunov from NXT UK. They will be fighting at Worlds Collide. Are you excited for this match? Because I saw Dragunov versus Cesaro. That was a pretty damn good match. I don't know if, like I said before, aren't these two heels? Dragunov's a heel, right?
No, I think Dragunov is I'm really trying to be a dark character babyface.
Oh, it's like a tweener, sort of.
Dragunov makes me laugh so hard because I feel like he paid the cameraman $5 to do a real close up on his contacts so he looks scary.
Yeah. He always makes it a point to have his eyes wide open when he's staring at the camera.
And it reminds me of me at one point being a loser. I got these new contacts and I was just like, oh, I'm going to look so cool in these things when I come out with this new gimmick. And, of course, that gimmick ended up really developing and getting better and getting over. But when Dragunov does it, he's just this little pasty man with red contacts. And it's like, are you really trying to play the big demon character? Because it's like,
yeah,
he's Scrappy Doo thinking that he's the big dog. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's exactly how he looks. And how he was acting, too, all cartoonish with Cesaro as well. I think these guys have put on a great match. They both have similar physiques as well. They're kind of like the Ryu and Ken of wrestling. They're oddly similar.
Mm-hmm. Cesaro can make anybody look good in the ring, but I will say for Dragunov's benefit that he doesn't need it. He's a great wrestler. He's just... I don't know what gimmick he needs, or if he needs to pull a Shannon Moore and get a big mohawk and some spike vest or something like that, but whatever he's trying to do, if you're going to do it, go all out. Get some death metal finger armor or something.
Fucking dye your hair red and I don't know, do something put it over the top instead of just throwing on some Walmart contacts.
Yeah, whatever you need to do to get that evil, strong, powerful dragon gimmick over. Maybe wear a dragon suit or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, after this, we get Angel Garza sits in on commentary and speaks mostly Spanish, which is fucking hilarious through most of the matchup. But the match gets started.
Can I throw this out there real quick?
Yes.
I got Angel Garza went live on Instagram, and he was answering everything I was saying, and I actually kind of got to have a cool conversation with him.
Oh, today?
No. This was right before he won the Cruiserweight title.
Oh, shit. That's badass, dude.
And I was telling him, bro, you're the future. You were my favorite to be in that Evolve tournament. You were the guy I wanted to win. And, we were just kind of going back and forth. And he was like, oh, thank you, man. It's like, I really appreciate that. But it's cool when you actually get to have that interaction.
Did he brag about his hot-ass fiance?
No, not at the time. He was packing.
Oh, wow.
He was in his hotel, he was packing, and I guess he just thought he'd kind of have a chance to interact with the fans on a personal level.
Well, I wrote down a couple notes about some of my favorite moves. Tyler Breeze was kind of like the sleeper in this match because we get Lio Rush and Swerve. I guess they know each other very well because during the beginning of this matchup, they were dodging each other's shit like Matrix style. I was very entertained by that. But Breeze eventually... Go ahead.
Swerve has a podcast. I mean, who fucking doesn't these days?
Exactly.
But Leo Rush is a frequent guest on his show. They hang out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Damn, I guess they are really good friends. They know everything. So they know how to put on a great match.
The brothers got to stick together.
That's right. The Black Rangers, what? Well, my favorite move of the matchup was a combination move where Tyler Breeze hits a German suplex to Swerve. As Swerve suplex Leo, I thought that was pretty impressive. And we get the JML driver. Swerve wins and goes on to take on Angel Garza. My God, does that move look dangerous? Do you think you could pull off the JML driver?
Do I think I can?
Yeah.
With practice, yeah. I was able to pull off the bitter end, which seemed like such a hard move with the timing. But I hit that in order to win the UWE World Heavyweight title, so it would be something I'd have to keep practicing. But, you know, you do it enough,
Yeah,
you won't kill the guy.
like my butthole clenched when he got him in that move because like, oh my God, don't land on your neck.
Well, he did that. What was it? He did that off two chairs standing up through a table on Lucha Underground as kill shot.
God damn.
Oh yeah, that move is something fierce. I love that move.
Well,
He called it something better too. Whatever those letters are, that's a stupid fucking name.
I don't even know what they stand for. Just my
Me neither.
life? I don't know. Well, after this, we get Rhea Ripley interviewed backstage and basically wishing everyone good luck, as the main event of NXT this week was the Women's Battle Royal to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. But before this, we get an outside interview with Johnny Gargano. Tommaso Ciampa walks up and thanks Johnny for his help. They agree to face Mustache Mountain at Worlds Collide, which should be a fucking great match as well. In the middle of this conversation, the Undisputed Era tries to jump them, but security is holding them back. And then we get Mr. Meme, the creator, Keith Lee, once again pounces someone, this time through a hedge. Then he starts throwing people
into the bushes.
Yeah. Then he throws some dude through a windshield of a really nice car, and then he tosses some other guy on a table. Keith Lee, this is the intensity I loved from him, and I think it's funny how every week his goal is to make a new meme.
Dude, you know that if these security guards weren't, for a shoot indie wrestlers, they'd quit the same fucking night and sue.
Oh, they'd be dead. Well, after this, the Women's Battle Royal starts. The American Ninja Warrior girl returns. I don't remember what her name was, but the crowd popped hard
Katie
for it.
Catanzaro.
The crowd did pop hard for it, and she was impressive in this Battle Royal. Not only that...
Well, that's Ricochet's little bitch.
It is?
Oh, yeah. They're a couple. They bang. They get it on.
I thought he was still backstage finger popping his asshole. I didn't know he had help.
Yeah. When she's not around, it's all he's got.
Well,
High flying thumb.
not only that, but we get Mercedes Martinez, who the last time we saw was in an AEW Battle Royal, now signs NXT.
People forget she was in the Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, she was in both Mae Young Classics. She was very impressive. I liked her. She's got this really big, pronounced jaw. She kind of looks like a werewolf.
And this time around, she tried to do a Texas thing. Wasn't working.
Yeah. Is she 40 like Shayna? They're both old.
Shayna's in her 40s?
She's 39.
Damn, I didn't know that. I mean, I feel like both her teeth, both Shayna Baszler's front teeth want to be the star, so they keep trying to get in front of each other.
Maybe that's why she sounds like a Muppet Baby every time she cuts a promo.
Oh, I cringe. Like, beyond, like, not like a good Lars cringe or a good Eric Rowan cringe, just like a cringy, like, stop it.
Yeah, we call that go away heat.
Yeah, exactly. Go away heat is right. But, like, her teeth is like, get out of my shot. No, get out of my shot. No, I'm the star.
Next week is going to be different, watch. We also get.
I will say this: my pick was who won the Battle Royal.
Really? I wanted Io to win.
Nope.
Well, Tegan also returns, as well as Shayna Baszler. The last time we saw her, she was losing to Rhea Ripley, but now she returns in this battle royal. I thought it was a pretty good battle royal, kind of a risky way to end an NXT episode when you're battling for ratings, but I believe the battle royal held up. It was entertaining. They still lost in the ratings, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Mercedes and Shayna have a stare down in the middle of the ring, and I don't think I've ever seen Mercedes take on Shayna. I don't believe they fought each other in the Mae Young Classic. I could be wrong, but their stare down was pretty cool. Who was the toughest one? I believe Shayna won that round, but Tegan was pretty impressive as well. But of course, we could see this 3 miles coming. Here comes Dakota Kai to eliminate her, furthering that feud. We get Go ahead.
They keep missing this big opportunity to set up a really good Tegan Nox-Rhea Ripley rivalry. From her breaking her leg in the Mae Young Classic, this is like time in the making, something that they should have capitalized on. And now Rhea's a babyface, and it feels like it's too late.
Yeah, that is true, but they do have that footage. They can file that under future feuds. That would be a great feud, because Tegan Nox, I don't know much about her, but from what I've seen, she's pretty impressive.
It's just such a missed opportunity.
The person who stood out the most in this battle royal got thrown under the bottom rope and was not eliminated. Shotzi shocked the world when she tossed out Shayna Baszler, setting up a future.
Dude, I love her.
Setting up
She's
a
my
future
kind of metalhead.
feud between those two. Have you seen any of her previous work, or is she a rookie?
I've only seen her previous work in NXT.
Well, hopefully we get more out of her in the future, keeping Shayna away from that title so Shayna can eventually go to Raw or SmackDown and beat the shit out of Bayley. But the final two were Bianca Belair and Io Shirai. So my fat ass was on the edge of my seat watching this. I had to DVR it because I work. And when I came home to watch it, they were fighting. I looked at the time. I was like, oh my God, they went 9 minutes over already? Holy shit, how long is this going to last? The recording cut off. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was hella pissed off, shouting. And then I remembered, well, I guess I can check out the rest of it on Hulu tomorrow. So I did. And the way that Bianca Belair tossed out Io was very scary, but very impressive as well. She got her in like a torture rack and just fucking threw her over the top rope for the win. I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to a Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley, but NXT never disappoints, and I think Bianca's up for the challenge. What do you think?
The fact that you feel like you don't know if you're looking forward to it excites me, because you have no idea the amazing powerhouse brawl that you're going to get out of those two. I think that it's weird, because I think that there was a time where Bianca Belair should have definitely beaten Shayna Baszler to become the new champ, but then we wouldn't have gotten that huge Rhea Ripley moment that we got. But I have been a Bianca Belair mark for quite some time now. I even do the weird little shit, swinging the ponytail when she comes out. I get all excited.
You whip your hair back and forth?
Stupid. I whip my hair back and forth. Oh yeah.
Okay, let me explain why I said that. Because Shayna's run made it seem like nobody was worthy enough to hold that championship. She, in my opinion, even though every match, every title defense Shayna had was great, in my stupid brain, it brought everybody else down a notch because they couldn't get the job done. So if Rhea Ripley was the one that defeated Shayna Baszler, now I think that Rhea is above everybody now. So I'm hoping that Bianca Belair proves me wrong, because I would love to see the NXT women's division breathe now that King Kong Shayna isn't the ruler of the queendom.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to a true legend in Shawn Michaels. How much did you love when he got destroyed the entire match, just beaten and battered, and then out of nowhere, like, he just showed that heart, like, he just kept fighting, he just kept, barely getting out of that tombstone or barely getting out of that pedigree and, taking that one last breath and then finally overcoming. That was Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair. That was Bianca Belair. When she was in that, okay, maybe Shayna goes over the first time, but I really feel like Bianca should have won that second time for the title. And one last thing I want to get out is, how many times are they going to do this bullshit with the women on the apron, where they're both fighting on the apron? Like, you're killing what could be kind of a cool thing by doing it too much.
Yes. And you know where it started? It started when Asuka won the first ever Royal Rumble, when she drop kicked Nikki Bella out of the ring to win. That's where it started, and it's only been overused since then.
Yeah, and that should have been... I feel like that shouldn't have even been the way that happened. Like, if this was the first time I saw it happen, I would have been at the edge of my seat. I would have been so excited, but I was like, oh, this finish again.
AEW kicks off with, forgive me for not mentioning this, but rest in peace, Rocky Johnson. AEW and NXT both kicked off with a Rocky Johnson tribute at the beginning of the show. And we get introduced to the Bash at the Beach set, where that random big-titted bikini lady sat the entire time. And we kicked off with a fatal four-way for the number one contender match for the AEW Tag Team Championships. It was Hangman and Omega versus Santana and Ortiz. I guess they're not proud and powerful anymore. Versus the Young Bucks. Versus the Best Friends with freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. What did you think about this match, and did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm trying to think. Me and my fiance were kind of going back and forth on who we wanted to win, and she picked who actually won, and I picked the Young Bucks. I'm not going to go on a Jim Cornette kind of rant about how they need to tag in every match, and this is bullshit wrestling, and they don't follow the rules. Because I like all the fast-paced tag team wrestling stuff. Sure, they could tag more and they could use more psychology and everything. But when it comes to these guys, they're all nonstop action. How are you going to play a replay when every single thing is replayable? So I actually like that in that match, you couldn't blink or you would have missed some oh my god shit.
I have two gripes. Speaking of replays, the camera work was awful during this match. Like, we missed so many cool stuff. I mean, we got to see a lot of cool stuff, but the camera work was pretty awful during this match. My second gripe, I need to ask you a question. Why were the Best Friends in the match and not Jurassic Express, who beat them last week?
I am a huge fan of Jurassic Express. I couldn't stand Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt being the tag team. But when Luchasaurus came back with that badass, destroy everybody return, that was awesome. So I would have loved to have seen them instead. But I feel like they needed a reason to put Orange Cassidy out there to make everybody happy. I would have liked to see them too.
I guess so, but I hope in the future we get more Jurassic Express. Hopefully Marco isn't as involved as he usually is, because I always feel bad when someone kicks that Chucky doll around the ring. But this was a pretty fun matchup. I liked it. And you could feel the weird tension between Omega and Hangman throughout the match. They were getting along, but they were given... You could look at Hangman's face and see this weird look on his face. then we get kind of a cool moment where they have an 8-man suplex, but they needed Orange Cassidy's help to perform the 9-man suplex, which I thought was pretty sweet. What'd you think of that?
I don't know, bathroom break maybe? I think I missed it.
It was cool. It's kind of like the cool stuff you get to see at house shows that they experiment with, but we got to see it on TV this time. It was a very fun match. Omega and Hangman do win after I believe the Young Bucks were upset with Hangman for getting the pin because they were doing all the work, and Hangman kind of got a cheap win out of it with a blind tag and tension with the Elite. However, I think I'm on Hangman's side because he's an alcoholic just like me.
And me.
Yeah, we're in that. We need to create that stable now.
The Alkies.
During the commercial break, I was very entertained and was laughing. I felt bad for laughing, but it looked funny. We get DDP doing his DDP yoga in the little split screen thing they showed there. I thought that was pretty funny seeing this old dude do that, but my God, did it work. That'll be later on. But after that, Cody comes out to cut a super fire promo in his Miami Vice gear. Cody accepts all of MJF's stipulations. How ridiculous do you think these stipulations are?
Not at all. I think they're brilliant. It takes me back to Stone Cold and Triple H, where Stone Cold, Triple H couldn't touch Stone Cold, and Stone Cold couldn't touch Triple H, but Triple H had fun with it, and I hope they do something similar. You know, Triple H went into his locker room, and Stone Cold just got out of the bathroom, taking a dump and blowing up his whole dressing room. And if we see some stuff like that where, you know, there's just a lot of antagonizing, they could really have some fun with that.
Well, the two things I want to point out, if Cody loses to Wardlow, does that mean he doesn't get to face MJF? Or is it a must-win situation that if he doesn't beat Wardlow, then it's off?
They didn't specify, which I think they should have.
It would have been nice.
I want to go back really fast, though, to the first match again, where I feel like there's a story there that they're doing slowly between Kenny Omega and Hangman, but I think that they would have benefited from losing that match and getting into an argument and telling that story better and having the Young Bucks go over, because since AEW Dynamite has started, you know, the Young Bucks look fucking weak, and we don't know. We've never seen the Young Bucks look like, you know, weak and the guys that always lose.
It's very shocking to see one of the world's greatest tag teams get jobbed out week after week and not grab that brass ring. They should have at least held the tag titles once by now, but I understand what you're talking about.
If they were trying to prove that, like, okay, so we're not going to, because we were the Elite and we started this, we're not going to make Kenny Omega take the world title and the Young Bucks take the tag titles and then come up with a mid-card title and have Hangman win that. Like, we get it already. Like, you already proved your point that, you know, you're not going to do that favoritism. You're going to do what's best for the company. But give the guys some wins, because they're freaking amazing, and who knows how much time they have left. One of them's balding.
Yeah. They're not so young Bucks after all.
No, that's why they're all called just the Bucks now, because they're fucking getting old.
Well, let me sneak this prediction in. I think they had Hangman and Omega win, because I think when it counts, like when they fight SCU and it's for the titles, maybe like Omega's trying to reach for the hot tag and Hangman just leaves them and walks away, setting up a feud for them to fight at Revolution. Maybe they had them win just to add more fuel to that feud, the future feud.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you care about that?
Not really, because I don't like Hangman.
There you go.
He doesn't have a character.
You're a high-level wrestling fan, and you don't care.
He doesn't have a character. He's just some dude who comes out there and loses a lot.
Yeah. So, would you rather see an interesting tag team match between the Young say the Young Bucks win the titles, they could go heel anytime they want. They're the Bucks. Would you rather see the Bucks versus Jurassic Express?
Oh, hell yeah.
Or a Boy and His Dinosaur, which I like better?
I hope they save that for whatever their WrestleMania is.
Me too. All I'm saying is they didn't need to win this, and I would have rather seen the Young Bucks go over. But my fiance was on the side of Kenny and Hangman.
Also, does Cody need to get lashed on TV next week? Is he going to get these lashes? Definitely? Or is that if he loses?
I thought he was going to do it this week, and I think he just has to do it no matter what.
Oh, wow. He's going to use Cody's that weight belt he always wears to the ring?
Yeah.
Well, after this,
He's making a new one.
After this, we get Joey Janela backstage cutting a promo about Superbad Kip Sabian. Eventually, they're going to tangle. But this is the part you could fast forward through. I recommend everybody who has not seen AEW, go ahead and fast forward through Brandy Rhodes and Mel with Luther versus Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida, because this was sloppy as hell. Very low energy. I know that Awesome Kong was supposed to be out there, but she wasn't medically cleared. But my God, was this match awful. I did not like this matchup. Chris Statlander did win with a packaged tombstone, which is cool, to Mel. But my God, was this, to quote JR, bowling shoe ugly.
So this is something I had to call busted open. Anytime like I'm balling my fists up because of how much I hate some kind of booking, I call it busted open and I just let out all my rants. I don't like anything that's going on with this Awesome Kong, Brandy Rhodes, and fucking
Nightmare Collective.
This Blue Meanie reject looking. Who does he remind me of? He reminds me of somebody that really doesn't matter.
Bald Gangrel.
No, even worse. From the Ministry of Darkness.
Oh, Midian.
He reminds me of Midian. You don't matter. Why is your face on my fucking television?
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense. And what's the end game, by the way? Why is Luther even there? This is a female group. What, is he gonna beat down some women? Like, who's he supposed to fight eventually?
If you really want to gross out Zanka, that's gonna be the guy. That's gonna be the co-star in the next gay porn with Mitch.
That's who's going to be in the shower with Mitch in 2020. After this, we get a Dark Order video package. And we get some blonde dude talking to some other guy off camera, trying to recruit Nakazawa, Omega, Brandon Cutler, and Hangman. I had an interesting theory about this. The first person they mentioned was Nakazawa. Do you think, what are the possibilities, what are the chances that the leader of the Dark Order could be Pac?
I don't think it's any chance at all. When it comes to a lot of this, okay, so there's a lot of characters that aren't really too much characters yet that I just don't care about. And that's Nakazawa. I love Pac, but I like Pac when they put him in high caliber stuff. The Dark Order cult thing could be cool if every night that it's the stuff that people are talking about, they just keep doing more of that and stay away from all the stuff of the nights where nobody cared.
Can I put you on the spot?
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, if you could pick up the pencil, right now it's up to you. Matt Hardy or Luke Harper as the leader of the Dark Order?
Oh, that's really good. Because if you get Broken Matt, you've got gold. And if you get Luke Harper,
he finally gets his chance.
Yeah. But I'm selfishly going to go with Matt Hardy because we all know the man can talk. I'd like to see him not throw a single punch, but just be a shot caller. Just a badass guy that nobody can get to as the leader of the Dark Order.
Well, that, and plus he could bring Senior Benjamin back.
Can you imagine if the Hardy compound was starting at the gate? There's freaking two guys in masks, and then you open up the gate, and there's a line of other guys in masks, and they're just everywhere, all over the Hardy compound. And, like, somebody wants to go see Matt Hardy, but he has to be escorted by the guys in masks. There's so much shit you can do.
Goddamn WWE shit the bed with Matt Hardy. What the hell were they thinking? They should have let him just do whatever he wanted.
UWE shit the bed when they didn't let me book.
Were you going to book Matt Hardy?
No, I'm still a little butthurt about some past things that I could have done.
Well, after this segment, we get Sammy Guava Juice versus Jon Moxley in his brand new car, which looked badass. Sidebar, I just reminded myself, watching you in your backyard wrestling videos that I binged on, you remind me of Jon Moxley. Every time I saw you kicking someone's ass, I was like, that dude has a Jon Moxley vibe.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to say thank you for that. Thank you for like, giving a shit and watching all that. That was really cool of you, man.
Very entertaining. I mean, I can't sing the praises enough. People, if you're listening to this, push pause, go to YouTube, search for Jason Atlas, the disease of Jason Atlas, and just fall down that rabbit hole, because there's so many matches. There's pay-per-views. You don't necessarily have to watch all the pay-per-view. You could fast forward to the disease of Jason Atlas matches. Very entertaining. I loved how you hit that dude in the head with the shovel and he got hella busted open. I love how committed you are to it. And I even love the people around you, how they're making comments. Like the match you had with Cyrus, was it a black guy who was recording it?
Yeah, that's Navon McDonald.
Oh, he said, Jesus, take the wheel. I hella popped for that, dude. That was so funny.
You know how hard it is when I'm either wrestling him or he's in the crowd to not break character?
That dude's awesome.
So
he needs to be on commentary all the time. And as you were walking away, I believe you're going to get a towel for your wound on your head. One of the kids in the audience goes, "Zombies are real."
I gotta send you a Buried Alive match where his arch nemesis, his biggest rival, Lips, actually gets buried alive underground. Like, literally had to hold his breath.
I heard that referenced. I heard a Buried Alive reference, and I was like, what the hell are they talking about?
Because just like there's Jason Atlas and there's the disease, Navon turns into Novin, which is the ghost of his father takes over his body.
Does the father wrestle as well, the dude with the devil horns?
Well, it's still Navon.
Oh, that's him? He's playing two characters?
It's a work.
Ah, okay.
But he does a thing like, oh my god, he talks to a doll named Tabitha. He goes above and beyond with his character when he's Novin.
Damn.
He's wrestled casket matches. I just saw him in a Last Ride match that he just put on.
If you still are in contact with him, can you let him know I love his selling? That dude can sell.
Oh, yeah. He's sold my back fist like nobody else ever has, even though I connected pretty hard.
There's a point in that match where you hit a badass pedigree as well. I wanted to compliment you on that. I don't know if they called it a pedigree, though.
Yeah, they probably called it a double arm face buster or something like that, which they could have just said pedigree.
Well, forgive me for getting off track here. We get Sammy G versus Jon Moxley. I like how Sammy hit a Cody cutter, and they didn't reference that. They just called it a cutter, but he did exactly what Cody does when he springboards off the rope and hits an RKO. Mox hits an X-Plex. I think X-Plex is one of my favorite moves. I think I'm going to give myself that in APPW. There was a sloppy double stomp to Jon Moxley on the apron. I thought Mox really got hurt with that, because I don't know if you go back and watch how Sammy landed that, and Mox, I think he hit the corner of the apron. It was really sloppy looking, but hopefully he's okay. Uh, After a backflip from the top rope, John Moxley catches Sammy, hits the rear naked choke. Sammy taps out. I didn't even know Moxley had that in his repertoire, but apparently he does. The coquina clutch or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, the rear naked.
Yeah,
Yes.
he hit that rear naked. Sammy taps out. John Moxley for the win. The lights go out. You hear Jericho's theme song. Lights come back on. Here we go. Inner Circle beating down John Moxley. Sort of like the Undisputed Era beat the shit out of Keith Lee and Tommaso Ciampa on the other show. But Jericho whips Moxley with the AEW title, which you gotta imagine weighs at least 20 pounds, so that hurt like a motherfucker. And then
That's a big deal.
a very creative offense move. Fucking Jericho gets a spike from his jacket and stabs Moxley in the eye. Holy shit. Have you ever taken a hit like that?
Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of things I didn't like about that.
Well, go ahead.
And that's just because if I didn't wrestle, then I wouldn't care, and I would have just bought into it. But the fact that I saw the blading from beginning to end, the passing of the blade, the fact that they didn't just let Moxley lay in the ring bleeding, showing that they had to have like 10 people all over him and cover it up. I don't know what the athletic commission was in that venue as far as like, showing blood. That could have been a factor, but I just was not happy with how they did that. They could have done that so much better.
Yeah, because
especially Moxley. I'm disappointed in Moxley because he loves all that hardcore shit. He'll take a spike to the head. You don't need to hand him a blade. You could just poke a hole in his head and he'll be happy that he got to get up. He gets to tell the story later.
Well, I did notice that I didn't see any blood actually until the backstage when he started walking. Well, that's the end of the show actually, but I didn't see any blood at first. That's pretty cool.
You saw it on his chest.
Oh, it was on his chest.
Well, I mean, like what you're talking about, you saw it later on the towel and like on his neck and on his chest.
Yeah. It's pretty cool how you pick up on all these little nuances because you've done it before. It's kind of like me being a fat custodian. Every time I walk into a building, I'm like, oh, that's dirty, that's dirty, that's dirty. When you actually do the profession and you see other people do it, you get extra critical because you want the best, the best out of them. And you notice these certain little nuances and it bothers you. I think that's kind of neat.
So, Mangria, there's two different ways to do a bad blade job. One is not enough, and the other is too deep.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you saw firsthand what too deep looks like.
Oh, yeah. Did you get lightheaded, by the way?
I got a lot of things. I've never bled that much out of my head in my life. So one thing I could tell you is your whole body feels extremely warm.
Jeez.
It's a very odd feeling.
I noticed that your blood was like... No, go ahead.
Nothing bothered me. I didn't care that I was bleeding out of my head. I didn't care that I was watching every time I fell down that there was another big puddle in front of me or that it was all over the table. What bothered me was there were really little kids there, and I was on my way to becoming a father. My fiance was probably 8.5 months pregnant, and I can only think like that I'm like
traumatizing
these I'm traumatizing these kids.
Well,
I got kind of broken up about that.
I didn't want to bring it up because it is kind of messed up, but there was a baby crying in the audience during this.
Well, this is the pussy generation.
Yeah.
If this was 1995 backyard wrestling, the kids would be like, yeah, hit him again. But now it's like, oh my God, is he bleeding for real, mommy?
The kids would be making blood. The kids would be making blood angels on the floor in the 90s, whereas now people are freaking out.
Exactly.
Well, after this, we get a backstage interview with Jericho in the Inner Circle. The thing I noticed about this was audio issues. It kept cutting out on Jericho, and I was like, all right, guys, come on. It is like how many months now? You guys are still having these weird issues.
Well, dude, you're talking how many months? But like, how many years do you think it might have taken, WWE to perfect that? You know, we're talking before they were even WWF, they were WWF.
Yeah.
So anybody who wants to criticize AEW on the camera work, the audio work, and maybe like trying to get a gimmick over, just remember some of these guys only knew indies, no regular television. Some of these camera guys only know shooting a regular television show where people aren't flying all over the place. They know where they're going to be at all times. I say give them a break and see watch them improve rather than criticize how they're doing now.
I know, I'm nitpicking.
You know?
I'm being bitchy about it, but sorry to interrupt. Looks like we got a run-in, ladies and gentlemen. Joining us on the After Party Hangover Wednesday review show, the main event has joined Andy with an I. What is going on, my man? Are you sober?
No, but I'm pooping.
Well, welcome. Sinikk Chaos is here as well. We're just at the tail end of AEW. Do you have any thoughts about AEW this week that you want to tell us?
I didn't get to watch. It was a busy work week, and I only got to see NXT. But I just thought I'd try to catch the end of it live with the contribution. I just wanted to hear it live.
You know what? Now that I got you on the toilet, let me ask you. The new Crumoffs have been announced. The theme this time are worst gimmicks.
Worst gimmicks? There's no such thing.
Do you have?
Any gimmick that makes it to TV is the best gimmick.
Is there any that you can recall though that you were just like, oh my god, what are they doing?
I'm gonna have to go with my tag team Crumoffs pick, and that's the Oddities.
The Oddities, yes.
Not the Sable edition, the Cyrus edition, the Jackal, or what was he in WWE? He was something else in WWE, but the Jackal edition.
Yes, that's cool that the Oddities are making a second appearance in the Crumoffs. I gotta imagine they're in the favorites because let me recap what Sinikk said. Sinikk voted for Eugene. I voted for the Shockmaster, and we had Jake on earlier. He voted the Spirit Squad.
Oh, Spirit Squad! They were legit as fuck. They brought DX back together.
Well, Dolph Ziggler came out of it as well.
I got a quick story about a Spirit Squad member. And who cares what his name was? It wasn't Kenny Dykstra, and it wasn't Dolph Ziggler. It was another one. I saw him at an indie show in my hometown, actually, where a lot of these people are popping up now, like Tony Nese and Chris Statlander and all them. So I meet this guy at this indie show at NYWC, and I just ask him, like, yo, can I grab a picture with you real quick? Not that I wanted it that bad, but he goes, sorry, bro, it's $20. And I laughed in his fucking face.
Oh my god, dude.
I was like, yeah, all right, bro, peace.
Perfect time.
He just flushed that Spirit Squad member down the toilet. Well, back to AEW. We get to the tail end. We got Butcher, The Blade, and MJF tag team against QT Marshall, Dustin Rhodes, and DDP, who's old as fuck. The first thing I noticed about this match was there was a BJF sign in the crowd that popped me. The one thing I got out of this match was this was the biggest endorsement for DDP Yoga ever. DDP can still go. I was very impressed that this old fuck did most of the stuff that he did in that ring. and we see him shove Bunny, which was very funny. I can't believe they let a dude do that to a chick. You know, it's 2020, all these woke assholes. And then he dives off.
That's a Blanchard all day.
He dives off the top turnbuckle onto the outside, onto everybody else who was in this match. Fucking DDP for the win on this episode of AEW. What'd you think of this, Sinikk?
It wasn't that great. I didn't watch the whole thing, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine.
I love DDP, and this dude's not hurting with his business. Like, he's promoting so hard, but he doesn't have to promote that hard. I enjoyed when he hit the diamond cutter on, I think he hit it on Wardlow and maybe MJF, and the bunny, and not the bunny, the butcher and
the Blade.
What are the butcher and the Blade? I think a week prior.
Yeah,
that
last
was
week.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that he.
But this match, it reminded me of when like there's a promo going on in WWE, and then it's like, this is now going to be a 6-man tag match, and you just kind of wait for it to be over.
Yeah.
But I will say, DDP can still freaking go, and it's all because of DDP yoga.
You know, it's rumored that he works for free. Like you said, he does really good. He does really well with DDP yoga. It's rumored that he's doing this for free. He just wants to help out his friends in AEW.
There's a better rumor about that. He gives away his paycheck.
Holy shit.
And he donates it to charity.
Damn, that dude's got a heart of gold.
Yeah, and he's got a full bank account for all the years that he was working. He's probably like roughing it like Mick Foley, sleeping in other people's hotel rooms on the floor.
Well, shit, he's saving other old wrestlers' lives. He's working for free, giving away his paychecks. This dude has a first-class ticket to heaven, I'm telling you that.
And he works safe.
The match ends when MJF rolls up QT Marshall because they were distracted by DDP flying around outside. Like I said, this was a good DDP matchup. It was nice to see that he can still go. You could probably... it wasn't the highlight of the show, but it was fun to watch. And it was the prelude to the main event. Pac versus Darby.
Real quick.
Yes.
What popped me was the fact that QT Marshall popped my son. My son loves apples.
No.
Therefore, he actually got really excited when QT Marshall came out with the apple.
I was looking at that Titantron like, what the fuck? Who is this? And then I was like, looked at it closer and I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
My son was just going like, this motherfucker likes apples too. Like, he's my favorite now.
Oh, yeah, I skipped over the SCU backstage interview. We get drunk Hangman. He makes an appearance, interrupts their interview, and Kenny Omega has to be the sober friend going, hey, man, hey, it's okay, man. He's just drinking. He's fine, man. Hangman, what a weird angle to have Hangman be drunk, a drunken character. I'm shocked that the sponsors are allowing that kind of shit because you know how pussyfied everyone is nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
But on to the main event. Darby Allin, he kept suicide diving onto Pac, throwing him into the barricade. And the barricade was getting very close to the front row, like putting fans in danger. I remember you told a story the last time you were on The Hangover that you attended an AEW show live. Is it really just a thin little steel like fence? And have you seen people get knocked down because of their crazy bumps?
Dude, it's a regular guardrail, and it's as flimsy as all hell. And people are getting free merch left and right because, it's clipping their finger or hitting their elbow or landing in an old lady's lap.
They get free merch? Oh, because they don't want to get sued, huh?
Free merch, pictures,
damn.
handshakes.
Well, that's a good deal.
Yeah, nobody wants to get sued.
During the commercial break, we get Pac fucking beating the shit out of Darby on the stairs. That was pretty entertaining. I felt bad for Darby because he looks like he weighs $150 soaking wet. But then again, Pac is amazing. I love his work in the ring. I love how he gets really into his heel character. It's awesome. Eventually, Darby, he hits a crucifix bomb from the top rope and a coffin drop to the outside onto Pac. Darby just sacrificing his body left and right for this matchup. Darby's right arm had battle scars from the stair attack from Pac. Pac does eventually win with the Black Arrow. Darby put up a good fight, but I mean, come on, Pac. It's next to impossible to beat that dude clean. You said you didn't catch this match?
No, I caught this match.
Oh, you did?
It was the last match I didn't watch much of.
Oh, okay.
The DDP match. This match was awesome and definitely entertaining. I love Darby Allin. He's probably one of the best people that was nobody that they're building right now that I didn't know before AEW. And I'll tell you that Pac is definitely the number one offender of hitting that guardrail.
The way he was falling into it, I could have swore someone got their foot broken, because that fucking... They must strategically place that barricade fucking 5 feet away from the front row because of the crazy shit that happens.
It's so close to the front row. And the front row is so close to the apron.
By the way, isn't it bragging rights? Like, when you come home from the show and they're like, hey man, how was it? And you be like, dude, I got a fucking black eye from the barricade. They fucked me up, but it was worth it.
Mangria, it used to be. It used to be. Not so much. Now it's like, did you see that? They caught it on camera. My pinky toe, I can only move it a little bit. I just need like $10,000 and I'll be okay. And if I could just get like a shirt and a picture with everybody on the entire roster, I think I might survive.
There's video footage of me being brutally assaulted by Darby Allin, and now I need a support animal. And can someone change my diaper? Jesus.
Support
After this, Tony Schiavone gets into the ring and interviews Pac afterwards, and Pac's talking all kinds of shit about Jon Moxley being like, oh, he's out, he can't wrestle, he's all fucked up now. Smash cut to the camera into Moxley in the back of the ambulance. He storms out, trying to go to the ring, grabs a mic, telling Pac, no, this is happening. I will fight you no matter what happens to me. So we get security and trainers holding Jon Moxley back because his eyes has blood finally all over the place on his body and on his face, looking like a pirate. And I guess we're going to get this match on the Jericho Cruise next week on AEW.
I wanted to go to that cruise so bad. Did you guys catch the picture that I posted on Instagram of Tony Schiavone looking like the kid that eats glue?
It was very funny because I posted that a picture of all three of them, and I put it in the Steel Real Pride Parade chat that we have, and I said caption contest, and we were just making fun of those motherfuckers. I put that this is JR explaining to Tony and Excalibur that the wall should be built. Because fucking JR had this really funny look on his face when I took a snapshot and posted it into the chat group. We were just fucking making fun of them for a while. But yeah, that's a very memeable picture.
Yeah, it is. It's like JR telling Tony Schiavone, like, so listen here, this is what we're going to do next week. We're going to book Jimmy Wang Yang as the World Heavyweight Champion. And Tony's just like, oh shit. Oh man.
He's like, God damn it, I'm going back to my podcast.
My PTSD.
Well, we did it, Sinikk. We made it through both shows. We did an interview part. We had Jake on. We had Andy on. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time, and there's one last thing I need to get out. Can I turn this camera on for a minute?
Sure. Just don't show your balls.
No balls. You guys will all get jealous. Anyway, I got a message for Zanka.
Okay.
Hey, Zanka. So, I'm asking you now, after the Still Real After Party, will you join the Sinikk Mafia? Checkbox, yes or no, or maybe.
You know what's weird is it didn't show you.
Fuck me.
I don't know why, but I mean, the audio's there still, so it should still be funny. But what I do now at the end of these... Oh, there you are. Now I can see you.
Well, the first take wasn't really that great, so take 2.
Okay.
Zanka, we need you as a member of the Sinikk Mafia. Join us so we can destroy the Black Rangers, the Mega Pounders with cheese, all that stand in our path, and that little baby Jew, the great Gretzky 99, that denied us. We are going to annihilate him.
Oh, I thought you held up a paper that said yes, no, or maybe. Well, at the end of these podcasts now, what I do is I try to come up with a hashtag that, briefly describes what we've talked about and the experience. What should be the hashtag of this hangover?
Join us, Zanka.
Join us, Zanka. I'm writing it down.
Or maybe the Sinikk Mafia wants you, Zanka.
Sinikk Mafia recruitment.
Hashtag the Spirit Squad clog my toilet.
Hashtag Mitch is a bitch.
I was wondering where you went, Andy.
I was just letting you guys go. I didn't want to interrupt. I was just listening. I wanted to be a live listener. That's all.
Well, I'm honored that you sat in and listened to us run our mouths this long. What was your favorite part of...
Dude,
Are you
wish you popped in more.
You still there, Andy?
Yeah, I'm still here.
What was your favorite part of NXT?
I would have to say, seeing Kushida and Alex Shelley lose. I like when they build something up like it's such a great thing, and then they lose.
Yeah, I was talking to Sinikk earlier about that. The semifinals is going to have the Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Undisputed Era. Is that 2 heel teams facing off?
I really don't watch NXT UK because I really don't give a shit about the UK. So, but yeah, I guess so. I mean, I honestly think it's just a way to set up. Regardless, I think there's going to be one NXT team and one NXT UK team. Just so that regardless of whoever wins on either side.
Oh, for Worlds Collide?
Yeah.
I see.
It's just like DDP, you got to promote it right.
So it'll be the Broserweights versus the Grizzled Young Veterans at Worlds Collide. Let's make that prediction now.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you, Sinikk, for your time. You spent a lot of time with me. I appreciate that. Oh, by the way, Andy, there is a Sinikk Mafia shirt going up on shop.spreadshirt.com/SteelRealAfterParty. So go ahead and check it out.
Your bank, Andy.
I might get, too bad they don't make, rompers or onesies. I'd totally get one of those. A romp pin. me. I'd wear the shit out of that. Maybe I should get, a double XL and just staple it at the balls, and I can walk around and make my own romp pin.
With your Spirit Squad underwear?
It's fuck that. I hang free all the time.
Ladies,
my vagina lips flap in the wind.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andy with an I, Steel Real pregame, brand new, next Saturday, right before the Royal Rumble. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Keep an eye out on the Steel Real After Party YouTube page. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Thank you for everyone who's listening. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, all hail Linda's Bush. Once again, thank you to all my guests on the After Party Hangover, such as the man of the hour, or more like 2 hours, Sinikk_chaos, at Andy_with_and__I, and who could forget the host of the decade, at After Party Jake. You follow Zanka at After Party Zanka. You follow the podcast at Steel Roll to Us. Of course, all of these on For Facebook, you just search for the Steel Roll After Party and hit that like button. to cover up your nips with that brand new Sinikk Mafia t-shirt. shop.spreadshirt.com/StillRealAfterParty. Don't forget, Jake has another podcast called the Dobros Podcast. You search for that on YouTube. Hit subscribe. It's very entertaining. Do not forget, next Saturday, 7 days from today, we will get a brand new Still Real pregame with the main event, Andy with an I. Go ahead and subscribe to that as well. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, fly fast and eat ass.